Ladies and gentlemen, I was just thinking about coming to Louisiana for my birthday, but I hate that these stories keep coming out of a state that I definitely enjoy visiting. But Louisiana's going to have to take the L here. So the Lou, the Boot, y'all going to have to take the L here in this story. But before we get into the details of what happened, if you guys read the title, then you might have an idea. Some of you guys might have already seen this in the news already, so I'm going to give just a little bit of my personal opinion about what happened with this story. So some of you guys might find this content controversial or offensive. The information comes from many sources, including court records, police charges, and news websites. My commentary also contains my personal opinion about the facts of this story. The point is to use the story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these going forward. Viewer discretion is advised, and that is your official disclaimer. This beautiful baby boy that you guys see on my screen right there. Let me see if I can get a better picture, a little more clearer picture of him. Let me get them off my screen. We'll get back to them here in a minute. That one's probably my favorite picture of this little boy that you guys see. That is Ezekiel Harry, 2 years old. Beautiful baby boy. Now, the mother of a 2-year-old boy who was reported missing on Tuesday and her live-in boyfriend. Let me say that again. Mom's boyfriend, live-in boyfriend, living off of her and her benefits, may face the death penalty after the child was found dead and discarded in a trash can several hours after the report was filed, according to police. And I'm getting this information from one of my favorite websites, lawandcrime.com, so thank you for the article. Maya Gwendolyn Jones, who's 28 years old, and Jermaine Michael Robinson, 37 years old. I want y'all to take a look at this picture because that was a mugshot picture. Let me back that up just for a second. Do you guys notice anything that is unique about this picture? Do you guys see anything that is odd about this mugshot picture? Something that I talk about all the time. I think it's always a weird thing when people are arrested or accused of stuff. They take their mugshot picture and you see a big fat smirk on their face. I want y'all to keep in mind they're claiming this as the biological mother who not only laid down to receive the seed from the father of this kid, chose to proceed with a pregnancy, carried this child for 9 months. At the end of that 9 months, went through labor to give birth to this child, made a conscious decision to become not only a mother, but to produce this child, give this child a name, to create a legacy from that man that you guys just saw on my screen, because that's the biological father. That's not the boyfriend. That's a different man. That's the biological father, not the boyfriend that's indicted in this case. Produce this man's legacy to turn around and learn of the death of her son and take a mugshot picture like this. And I wonder, ma'am, what in the effing world is wrong with you? What did this baby boy do to deserve that? There's nothing this baby boy could have done to deserve that. And yes, Ezekiel is a biblical name also. She gave him a name that actually meant something. They are facing the death penalty. I want y'all to understand how serious that is. Because usually when you face a charge like the death penalty, that usually means that they have enough evidence against you that they feel strongly that they could get a conviction and get that type of sentence. So they feel real confident that they got some evidence that they can prove that against you. Again, Maya Gwendolyn Jones, 28 years old, the mother, and Jermaine Michael Robinson, 37 years old, mom's live-in boyfriend, were taken into custody on Tuesday and charged with a spate of felonies, S-P-A-T-E, I have never seen that word while reading these articles. They said a spate of felonies, including one count each of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice in connection to the death of 2-year-old Ezekiel Harry. According to a press release from the Houma Police Department, officers responded to a 911 call on Tuesday at around 12 p.m. in a reference to a possible abduction of a 2-year-old boy who was allegedly taken near a 100 block of Mahler Street. Investigators spoke with Jones, who allegedly said that she was walking along Bayou Terrebonne with her children when a suspect in a gray truck passed, grabbed her 2-year-old, and departed the area. Investigators say that Ezekiel was last seen wearing burgundy shorts and a blue and white striped shirt with an orange dinosaur featured on the chest pocket. Let me say that again. The mom is claiming that she was out walking and a gray truck passed her, grabbed her 2-year-old son, and left the area. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. Children are kidnapped a lot. The numbers are staggering. It does happen. This is a lie. That is bullcrap here. I believe that that's bullcrap. Investigators say that he was last seen wearing what he was wearing. I already said that part. But anyway, police are investigating Ezekiel's whereabouts and were initially told that Jones left her home on Candir Street, accompanied by Ezekiel and her other 3 children. So here's what I also want y'all to think about. Why did this alleged person go for this boy specifically? Didn't go for the mom, went for that boy and not her other children. If you ask me, that on the surface is probably a really, really big red flag. Again, it's not to say that it doesn't happen, because it does happen, but the way that she told the story made no sense. All of whom with these children are between the ages of 5 years old and 10 years old. Investigators say that sometime after they arrived at a walking track in the area of Bayou Terrebonne and Mahler Street, Jones began going up to nearby homes and telling the residents that her kid was abducted, per the original press release from the police. And again, that's the biological father of that kid if she has other kids, and I'm assuming that she has children with more than one father, which would also mean that if she's not with this man, if she's with another man, that one would have to assume that there's probably a little vitriol there, probably a little ill feelings. Things didn't work out between them, which is how a lot of children end up coming into this world, right? So there is definitely a lot of incentive there for this child to be mistreated. Because that man looks like he loves this child. And in too many cases, when a man loves his child, when the mother and father aren't together, that mother knows that she can use that against him and hurt him if that child is hurt. Not all, but in a lot of cases that I've talked about on my channel. But let's keep going. However, police said that the mother's claim about Ezekiel being abducted off the street was quickly proven. They said quickly proven to be false, leaving investigators suspicious of the motive for misleading police. So I'm sure some of y'all are wondering, how in the hell did they find out that this bride was lying? As if she was in a zoo. Thug lion. I want y'all to take a look at that. What is that called on my screen? That particular picture. That is surveillance. Caught on surveillance camera. Isn't that something? It's funny how these people will continue to perpetrate lies and tell you some false BS until you present them with the video and they're just like Shaggy, it wasn't me, right? That's so crazy that people can be that callous, that heartless, that dumb, and you have to present it to them on video and show them, no, bitch, you're lying. We got you on camera. On y'all remember that show, Candid Camera? Smile, you're on Candid Camera. Y'all remember that? Maybe y'all are too young to remember that. Maybe I'm just old. I done lost all my hair. I'm going bald. Maybe I'm a little old. But that's exactly what that picture was. Let me see if I have another one. We'll get back. There's a lot more to talk about with this story. That's a little bit of an enhanced photo. That's a man and a woman walking with a duffel bag, if you can't see it that clearly. A big black bag. Big enough maybe to carry a 2-year-old child in? One should also remember that she got this big goofy ass smile on in this mugshot. They said that the mother's claims were quickly proven to be false, making investigators suspicious for the motive for misleading police. So the Houma Police Department, through investigation, immediately developed information that the report released by the mother was inaccurate. The department wrote in a release, adding that investigators suspect foul play may have been involved. So here we go. Let's get into the meat of this. It was not immediately clear how police were able to ascertain that Jones's story about Ezekiel being snatched by a person in a gray truck was not true, but the department did not immediately respond to a request from Law and Crime seeking clarification and additional details in the case. But again, I've already given you guys a big clue as to that picture that you saw on that closed caption television. Several hours after Ezekiel was reported missing, officers with the Houma Police Department found the boy's body discarded in a trash can located on Daspit Street on the west side of Houma. At approximately 6 p.m., Jones allegedly led officers to the trash can where she and Robinson had left the boy's remains. Jones and Robinson were taken into custody a short while after the discovery of the child's body. They are both being held with, you guessed it, zero bond. Good for them. Houma Police Chief Dana Coleman reportedly told New Orleans CBS affiliate WWL-TV that surveillance footage obtained by investigators showed both Jones and Robinson with that goofy-ass smile on her face. Let's go ahead and proceed forward. Right there. Surveillance footage obtained by investigators showed both Jones and Robinson walking near Kadir Street carrying a duffel bag that police believe they stuffed Ezekiel's body in before throwing it into the trash as if this boy's life meant absolutely nothing. I'm ad-libbing that portion. Footage from a different camera reportedly shows the couple walking in the area a few hours later without the duffel bag. So they got rid of it. The owner of the home where Ezekiel's body was found told the news that the whole incident was extremely shocking. Let me skip that portion of it. Police emphasized that the investigation into Ezekiel's death remains ongoing and encouraged anyone with information relevant to the case to contact Crime Stoppers Bayou region by phone at 800-743-7433 or online at crimestoppersbr.org. So I'm assuming that's Baton Rouge, but let me give you guys a fair usage warning. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys would, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up, because what it does is it helps notify more of our subscribers that we're live talking about this story. So we definitely want more people to come and see this story. So if you would, simply click that thumbs up, help us share this story. Very easy thing to do. Here we go. Let's get it.
The search for 2-year-old Ezekiel Harry came to a tragic end here on Daspit Street, where police say his body was found in a trash can. The toddler's mother, 28-year-old Maya Jones, and her 37-year-old boyfriend Jermaine Robinson are facing charges related to first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. The search for Ezekiel started around noon after police say Jones reported him missing. She initially told police he was abducted, but that story quickly unraveled as police began to suspect foul play. A large part of the search for Ezekiel was on the Intercoastal Waterway near where he was reported missing, but it was just a block away from the police department where he was found. Here on Daspit Street, neighbors say police showed up out of nowhere, and the homeowner of the property where Ezekiel's body was found in the trash can says she's shocked.
I was in my house laying down in my bed, and it sounded like I heard like a woo woo, so I called my 10-year-old, and I told her, sound like I hear the police outside, go see, or whatever. She said, yeah, mama, they taping off around the house. So I came outside to see, and I seen a lady laying down on the ground beside the trash can. And then after that, they told me that, to go back in my house. Like, I thought the lady was dead or whatever, but after they came to explain that the lady said her baby was abducted or whatever, then after they interrogated her, she, told what happened and, brought them to the trash can, which was in front of my house.
What goes through your mind knowing that happened right outside your doorstep?
I got babies myself, so like it was scary or whatever.
But you never saw her do it?
No.
Paternal family members of Ezekiel say there are 3 other children as well, ranging in age from 5 to 10. They say they are all okay. Reporting from Houma, Mike McDaniel, Eyewitness News. Family and friends gathered today to remember the life of a 2-year-old boy who was killed last week. Funeral services were held today for Ezekiel Harry in Thibodaux. Houma police say he was killed by his own mother and her live-in boyfriend. Sam Winstrom takes us there.
It's always in the most tragic situations that we see our community come together. And when the time came for one Houma family to bury a 2-year-old child, hundreds came out to make sure they wouldn't have to do it alone. As Ezekiel Harry's family said their final goodbyes, hundreds of bikers gathered outside the church, there to support Ezekiel's family on the hardest ride of their lives.
Our heart goes out to the family and big condolences, and we're just coming out to support for whatever the cause is, or whatever the situation, and let them know, hey, we're here to support you.
The riders came from across the country, moved by Ezekiel's tragic death. The 2-year-old boy's body was found abandoned in a garbage can after police say his mother and her boyfriend killed him. It sent shockwaves through the community, who couldn't shake the image of an innocent child, just 2 years old, thrown away like trash.
When a child get killed, this has to happen. Everybody has to show up. Period.
And
I want y'all to take a look at this, and this really made me emotional for a lot of different reasons. First of all, I don't know if a lot of you guys know that I'm actually a biker. So I'm actually in a motorcycle club, and I'm very proud of that and been in there for 9 years. So next year will be my year 10. I take a lot of pride in being a member and what we represent, and just the love for the culture of just riding our motorcycles and being able to share that brotherhood and sisterhood with so many people across the globe. So that's actually what this shirt is, if you guys can see that. So that's our logo right there. So I want to give a shout out to 5Gs out of Oklahoma City, which is my group. I actually have it on my back as well. I guess I ain't got to show y'all all of that, but, got my name on her or whatever. But the reason why this really means a lot to me is because where I live at, I had a friend of mine who was in a motorcycle club, and he ended up losing his son to who we believe to be mom's boyfriend. That's what we believe. We believe that his son was murdered by mom's boyfriend, and my brother needed support. And to watch how the motorcycle community around here came together, we showed up to the funeral to pay our respects and to support him, and rode to have him buried. And even we had a rally, I think maybe about a year or two ago also, to continue to keep bringing awareness up to try to get justice for that baby boy. So for me, that really meant a lot, because not only have we lived that, but to watch how these bikers come together. I'm going to tell y'all what this means. If you look at this and you're not sure what this means, I'm going to tell you what this means, because this really comes from my heart. We, as bikers, are sick of watching our children being murdered. We're tired of it. You even have specific biker groups. Bikers against child abusers. So many of them. That put family and children as their number one priority, because we all understand that in order for our children to grow up and become something great, they have to have a protective foundation, which is what we as parents, fathers and mothers provide. That's our responsibility. Not only to watch out for our community, but to watch out for our own creations as well. Y'all, look at how many of them showed up. I actually know some bikers out there in New Orleans. Met some of them. All of them that I've met have been real good people. Real good people. But to watch my brothers out there step up and support like that, to show, hey, we're here with you in physical and in spirit, to show support and to show that we're not going to stand for this. I love that, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And this is what I'm talking about. Whenever we see these rallies on TV and you see it's like 5-10 people out there with signs, nobody's paying attention. Well, I'm going to tell you something. This day, everybody was paying attention to what happened to Ezekiel. And this is what should happen every single time something happens to one of our babies. It shouldn't even get to this point. Nothing should be happening to our children at all. But I'm glad to see my brothers out there on steel, out there representing and letting the world know that we're not going to stand for this. We're going to stand up for our babies and give them a voice. But I love to see this. So that's real. If y'all understand where my motivation comes from, when I started the AFC podcast, not only have I been living this way before y'all ever saw me on the internet, I was a camp counselor way before I got this. I love children way before I had my daughter. So this is a long culmination for me for loving children and being there to protect them and giving them a voice. But let me play the video. But thank y'all for, if y'all even listen to that portion of the video, but thank you for letting me share that with y'all.
Not just for one day. Mike Willis said that he's been to too many funerals for too many children. He believes that unless we make a big change in our community, tragedies like Ezekiel Harry's death won't stop.
We just got to figure out what we're going to do as a people, period. Because these kind of tragedies going to keep occurring if we can't figure out how to send people in the right direction to get counseling and everything else. So we got to do better, y'all.
Now, Ezekiel's mother and her boyfriend were arrested on first-degree murder charges. Officials say that they could face the death penalty. Sam Winstrom, Eyewitness News.
Houma police have released the cause of death for a 2-year-old in Houma. They say Ezekiel Harry died of severe blunt force trauma to the head, and we're still awaiting the official coroner's report. Tonight, a candlelight vigil is going to be held at the Houma courthouse, and Eleanor Tabone is joining us live there with the very latest on this really just sad case. Eleanor.
Like you just said, Katie, a very, very sad, tragic story. We are here, like you said, at the courthouse square in Houma as we await the vigil, which is set to start at 7 o'clock this evening, where the police chief, sheriff and other parish leaders are set to come and honour and pay their respects to little Ezekiel Harry. We know earlier this week, little Ezekiel was found in a trash can. His mother, Maya Jones, and her live-in boyfriend, Jermaine Robertson, could potentially face the death penalty. We know the court cause of death released today by the coroner and the Houma Police Department was blunt force trauma to the head. We're awaiting those toxicology results. Police told me yesterday when I spoke to them that they had been out to that house 3 times in the last month. They also told me that the lease signed at the house that Ezekiel was living in was signed on June 2nd. So Houma Police Department was blunt force trauma to the head. We're awaiting those toxicology results. Police told me yesterday when I spoke to them that they had been out to that house 3 times in the last month. They had trauma to the head. We're awaiting those toxicology results. Police
Want y'all to listen to this. Police had showed up out here how many times? Somebody saw something and said something multiple times. How many times?
told me yesterday when I spoke to them that they had been out to that house 3 times in the last month.
3 opportunities, at least 3 opportunities to save this baby's life. Now, I want y'all to remember, I don't blame this on police. I do not blame this on CPS, even though they do have some culpability if they failed in their jobs, because that's like a fail-safe in there. But ultimately, the people that I blame are the biological parents. Let's never get that twisted. The biological parents are the mother and father are the ones who are responsible for raising this life together and trying to figure this thing out together. For whatever reason, they couldn't stay together, couldn't be together. They broke up and mom decided to go get her. This freaking fool right here and put this whatever man around her kid, and together they end up mauling and abusing this child. Because she didn't love that child. I don't think she ever did. She probably did it to either keep her man or get benefits off of that child. Babies for benefits. That's what that stands for. If you ask me, she never loved this child. But that's where the failure starts. The failure starts when those seams of the family start to shred and rip at the seams. And it falls apart from there. Then it falls on whoever the step parent is. Then it might fall on the family members. Then it might fall on CPS. Then it might fall on the foster system. Then it might fall on the police for not getting there fast enough or answering the phone call fast enough or whatever it is. We can continue to point the finger and the blame at everybody, but ultimately, these 2 people did it. It got to this point because of the failure of the foundation of the family. It's always been my message.
Told me that the lease signed at the house that Ezekiel was living in was signed on June 2nd. So, Katie, that means they were living at the house for just a little over a month. But like I said, the vigil tonight is set to begin at 7 o'clock. We will continue to keep you updated on the proceedings here in
Blunt force trauma to the head. That's how 2-year-old Ezekiel Harry's life ended. That's according to the Terrebonne Parish coroner. Tonight, loved ones and the community gathered to remember the boy. WGNO's Anna McAllister was at tonight's vigil in Houma.
Tonight, dozens of folks gathered at the Terrebonne Parish courthouse to remember 2-year-old Ezekiel Harry. Though his death was unthinkable and it rocked this community, the immense love for this little boy was apparent.
I began to meditate on his name, Ezekiel. I discovered that his name literally means God strengthens.
The Terrebonne Parish courthouse steps were packed this evening, and every single person in attendance was there to remember 2-year-old Ezekiel Harry.
Ezekiel was amazing. He was smart, intelligent.
Harry was found dead.
They're calling her the stepmother? Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I just found what the motivating factor was. I don't know if some of y'all are aware of this, so let me go ahead and shatter some of you guys' social norm thoughts about this. And I got to give a shout out to my brother Tommy, because he's been talking about this for a very, very long time. If you guys aren't aware, it's not all, it's not all, it's not all, it's not all, it's not all. But I know a lot of sisters out there that do not like to see black men with women that are not black women. Let me say that again. A lot, not all, but a lot of black women that I have seen express this in public on social media, speak it out of their mouth, are not very happy, not very pleased. And matter of fact, if I had to give a little bit of my own personal experience, I've actually experienced a little bit of the vitriol of what it's like to date a woman that is not black. I know what that feels like. So I've lived it. That vitriol is very, very strong. Those feelings are very, very strong. And to know if this is the stepmother, so this is what this means. That means that this woman, Ivy Guidry, is the girlfriend to the biological father. Ezekiel's stepmother. So that means the biological mother and the stepfather are the ones who were arrested for the murder. So mom clearly didn't care. She clearly wanted to inflict pain on the biological father, maybe even for something as simple as the fact that this lady is white. Believe it or not, y'all can tell me it's BS all the F you want to. But I'm telling you, because I've been black for 40 freaking years of my life. I'm telling you what I know, that is a very real emotion that a lot of our sisters have that I think is flat out illogical. But it's there. That's how they feel. They don't give a damn and you can't tell them any different. That's just the real portion of it. But I believe that's the motivating factor. Her skin color.
He was smart, intelligent.
Harry was found dead in a trash can in Houma earlier this week after his mother, Maya Jones, reported him missing. Jones and her boyfriend, Jermaine Robinson, are now facing charges in relation to first-degree murder.
He didn't deserve it.
Those who knew Ezekiel say he was a happy, lively little boy who loved to dance, go to church, and spend time with his family.
So instead of mom, who already had multiple kids by multiple men, I want y'all to hear me, instead of her giving up custody of this child, which would have actually made her life a little bit easier, and giving up custody and letting the biological father and his new white girlfriend, motherly figure, raise this child, she decided to kill him instead. What story does that remind you of? Oh, that's right. Do y'all remember the Anaya Day Garrett story out of Cuyahoga County, Cleveland, Ohio? Sierra Day and Deontay Lewis murdered Anaya Day Garrett 4 days before their custody hearing, with the father, Michael Garrett, was allegedly going to win custody of his daughter. And instead of the mom giving up custody, what does she do? Mom and boyfriend beat that little girl to death. Killed her. And then made a fake-ass 911 call acting like they were trying to help resuscitate the child. Like they didn't know what happened. And they got a whole bunch of years in prison, and rightfully so. That's eerie similar to this situation. Because matter of fact, I think that Michael Garrett in that story, which was the biological father to Anaya Day, had him a little... What they call that? I forget. What's the term that they call that? Oh, damn it. What do they call it? Not jungle fever. What is it? Color struck. Because the girlfriend that he had wasn't black. Sierra Day's father's girlfriend was not black. And it's so funny how I could present all of these stories and you see that narrative play out for something as simple as skin color.
He was very playful, like feisty, like he was friendly, liked to play, playful, dancing.
He was the life of the party, man. He was. That was our boy.
Community leaders led the service with prayer and called for unity. State Senator Mike Feasey pledging to pursue Ezekiel's law to protect other kids from child abuse.
In the state of Louisiana, last year, we had 55 children die in this situation from the statistics I got. Already this year, in 6 months, which is half of the year, we're at 33, which is a 23% increase.
Though Ezekiel only spent 2 short years on this earth, those who love him and the entire community will never forget him and will continue to fight until justice is served. The family tells me Ezekiel's dad was too upset to attend. They also tell me his father was scheduled to go to court to request full custody of Ezekiel. Reporting in Houma, Anna McAllister, WGNO News.
This evening, family and friends came together.
Blunt force trauma.
They also tell me his father was scheduled to go to court to request full custody of Ezekiel.
Okay, I almost missed that part. Let me let y'all hear this again. Y'all heard me describe the Anaya Day Garrett story. I want y'all to listen to the end of this report. They had a court date. He was expected to win full custody of his son. And what happened?
Fight until justice is served. The family tells me Ezekiel's dad was too upset to attend. They also tell me his father was scheduled to go to court to request full custody of Ezekiel. Forget him and will continue to fight until justice is served. The family tells me Ezekiel's dad was too upset to attend. They also tell me his father was scheduled to go to court to request full custody of Ezekiel. Reporting.
So that's the exact same. Thank you. Somebody caught it in the chat. So based on what I just described in the murder of Anaya Day Garrett out of Cuyahoga County, Cleveland, Ohio, this story of Ezekiel Harry, 2 years old, the way that he was murdered, besides Anaya being 4 years old, it's the exact same. He was going for custody. Mom and boyfriend killed the boy. I'm going to say this, and I hope that there's somebody out there listening right now. Sometimes it can be safer, and I know I've heard Tommy say this before, but I can understand from personal experience, sometimes it's safer for the child for you to just walk away. And that's sad to say that, especially when you have all of these situations where people are making it seem like, well, you got all these deadbeat dads out here that don't want to be involved with their kids. No, actually, most of these dads, if you give them custody, they'll take the kids. That includes me. If you just say, here, take your kid, I'm not going to reject them. I'm going to take my child and figure it out and adjust my lifestyle accordingly. You do have a lot of men out there that don't want to be fathers, that maybe went and got a chick pregnant and just want to walk away and don't want no responsibility. I'm not saying that that doesn't exist, because it does. But you also have a lot of men out there that if you gave them an opportunity to be fathers and didn't make them jump through a fucking thorn bush to be a father, they would be a father to their kids. If you didn't make them swim through hell and high water, they would absolutely be fathers to their kids. If you didn't cause them to go through freaking depression and think about ending their own life and making them freaking miserable and making them live in a way that they can't support their own lifestyle, a lot of them would be fathers. But you know what? I know that there are a lot of women out there that are smart enough to understand that. They understand that dynamic. They just don't give a shit. That's facts. They understand that dynamic. They understand that dichotomy. Hope I use that word right. That's a big word for me. They understand that dichotomy. They don't care. That's so crazy that those stories are the exact same. He went for custody. They murdered the kid. If you could rewind time and go back, I'm sure that this father would rather let his son live and him walk away than him fight for custody and this type of thing happen. He'd rather have his son here and live to just watch him grow up, and maybe you could have a relationship with him later on in life.
In Homa, Adam McAllister.
Blunt force trauma to the head. That's
This evening, family and friends came together to remember a 2-year-old boy whose life was cut too short. Today we learned Ezekiel Harry died of severe blunt force trauma to the head. His body was found dumped in a garbage can Tuesday in Homa. Police say his mother, Maya Jones, intentionally came to them saying the little boy was abducted, but inconsistencies in her story immediately led them to suspect foul play, forcing them to arrest both her and her live-in boyfriend, Jermaine Robinson. Eleanor Tabone was in Homa today for the vigil for Ezekiel.
Tonight, hundreds gather as they remember 2-year-old Ezekiel Harry, the baby boy taken from his Homa community too soon.
Like Spider-Man.
Cynthia Harry, Ezekiel's grandmother, remembering the baby she will never see become a man.
I'm running around in the house, touching everything, knocking on my door, playing with my keys. He liked to play with my keys.
The Homa community sharing the family's grief.
I just could not believe that somebody could put a human being, let alone a child, in a garbage can.
Ezekiel's mother, Maya Jones, and her live-in boyfriend, Jermaine Robinson, could potentially face the death penalty after the child was found dead in a duffel bag in a garbage can following what police said was a fabricated search for a child who was already dead.
Wow, really? Is it true? That hurt it big time.
Sylvia Wright says she always wanted a child. This tragedy hitting home for a woman who never got the chance to be called mum.
You have women like me wishing I can have a baby.
It's really did impacted me. It's affected me terrible.
Clark Nixon struggling to understand how this could happen.
It's just a kid. I don't know how anybody can think to do something like that.
Rocked him many a nights from nightmares and crying. His 2 sisters and his brother meant the world to me.
Adrienne Francis says she met Ezekiel at The Haven, a domestic violence shelter in Homa. Police have said they're looking into any abuse and drug use in the home.
He was like my child. As soon as he saw me come to work at night, he would throw his hands up, drop his noonie out, and just want to stay in my arms. He wanted a mother's love. That's all he ever wanted.
You are the only wise God.
On the steps of the courthouse, candles silently paying tribute. Eleanor Tabone, Eyewitness News.
This is the last video. I'm going to skip through it if it's repeating some information, but this is the last video.
A community came together tonight to remember a little boy whose life was cut far too short. 2-year-old Ezekiel Harry was found murdered yesterday in Homa, his body dumped in a trash can. Police say his mother, Maya Jones, and her live-in boyfriend, Jermaine Robinson, are responsible for killing him. And tonight, the Terrebonne Parish DA says this could be a death penalty case. The Homa police chief says they're investigating whether the child was being abused and whether drug use was happening in the household. Police say they had been called to the home in the past, and they're now reviewing all of those calls. Police say surveillance video from a business captured Jones here with her 3 school-aged children holding a baby carrier walking towards the water in the Intracoastal Waterway. Police now know that carrier was empty. The 3 children are in Child Protective Services tonight, and Eleanor Tabone takes us to a vigil and a balloon release that was held tonight in.
Yeah, they got to stop those balloon releases, but kind of skip through this just a little bit. Because like I said, a lot of the information in there is repeated information. But again, I know we've spoken quite a bit about this story. Again, I want to give a shout out to all bikers across the world, but especially the bikers that showed up here. Some of them you can see in those pictures. Not sure which clubs were actually affiliated with that, but shout out to them for organizing and showing up to show some support. But man, yeah, bikers, you know, in general, motorcycle clubs are more awesome than you guys actually might know. And, but I'm glad they were able to show up and show support and just show and get the message out there that we're tired of this happening to our children. And we need to step out there. You see something, say something, you report it, you prevent it as best as you possibly can. I always encourage people to not put yourselves in legal jeopardy by intervening in a situation. But if you did, I would totally understand. I really would. I would totally understand. But at the same time, I would never ask for somebody to put their life at risk and to put their future and if you're a parent, definitely your ability to be a parent at risk by intervening in a situation and not really understanding the legal ramifications for doing so. But this baby boy, I'm pretty much certain that he died for the dumbest reason possible. Mom was jealous of dad's new white girlfriend. And she killed him. And the boyfriend was just like, hey, I ain't got no problem with that. I'll even help you dump the body. Long as I get to be up under your big, nasty, funky self. He was willing to do it. Threw his life away. And these two idiots deserve each other in hell next to Satan on both sides of his throne. In hell. That's horrible. Caught him on surveillance tape and everything, man. But those people absolutely deserve the ultimate penalty under law. Hope they get it. But we definitely want to wish justice for Ezekiel, young prince, R.I.P. But on behalf of motorcycle clubs across the world, I thank y'all for representing so well. And we continue to keep doing that and represent our babies. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If I missed something, please let me know. But the only other thing we'll probably update will be the final sentencing in this case. All right. But thank you. Let me know what you guys think.